Simi, don't let anybody touch your PP, oh. Anita, don't let anybody touch your PP and your nyonyo. Excuse me. Wait. Ma, please. What was the meaning of that? I'm having sex education with them now. You know, they are just 2 years old, so I can't really tell them much. In this era, in this time. Please come closer. Ma, sir, you need sex educate your child like a pro 6.0. We are in an era where children know much more than our parents. They know much more than we ourselves. And so in order for you to educate your children about sex rightly, you need the right knowledge. And in order for you to gain that right knowledge, you need to hurry and go register in Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 6.0. Because all this PP nyonyo that you are talking about is not the main deal. Your children will even be the one to correct you and tell you, Mommy, no, it's not PP, it's not nyonyo. If your child should hear the truth from outside before you tell them the truth, you are opening your door for big flood, because truly flood Nabia. See ya in Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 6.0. Creative Kid parents, are you there?
See you at Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 6.0. Good evening, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Good evening, the TIV police. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, ma'am. Welcome here, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
Good evening, Yadas and non-Yadas. If you are not in the yard, why now?
Welcome here, ma'am, and thank you for doing this with us.
Thank you to Coach Wendy and the TIP team for the privilege and platform, as always.
You're welcome here, ma'am. Yadas, if you are here, do not come here alone. Drag your core members. Come here. This is exclusively for you before any other person that's not in the yard.
Represent your cohort in the comment section. Let's see. And if you are not a yada, say I'm a yada to be.
Very important. Yada to be. So, ma'am, we just go straight to the business of the day. So we are doing social Q&A. So we discovered that there are questions people have, but it's been going on like that. Maybe the answer they've been hearing before now is not exactly. So that's the reason we're here, to put these things in perspective. So, ma'am, we have quite a number of questions. So that we are here, I also have a question we would like Dr. Omolola to respond to. Please make use of the comment section, and of course we will call that up for the response. We go straight to the question number 1, ma'am. So, ma'am, you do tell us and tell our viewers why sex education, sex conversation, like we call in the academy, is even important in the first place. Because some people just come in here, been hearing, okay, they've been doing sex education, they've been having sex conversation, but they are not really touching the core of what this conversation is about. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Augustine, our TIF police. Thank you for this opportunity. And I want to appreciate my coach and mentor, Coach Wendy Ologe. Thank you, Coach. We've been doing live. You, Mr. Augustine, now we've been doing live. Mr. Augustine has been dragging us for years. If you don't know about it, it's not today that you have been dragging us. Thank you so much, Coach Wendy, for always being there. Thank you for the privilege and platform. Thank you for all the dragging. I'm grateful because it's part of our journey to becoming. I want to say shout out to my marriage counselor, the extraordinary, the governor. Thank you, sir. I honor you. All the TIP team, thank you. Yadas, I see you in the comment section. And if you're not a Yada, we expect you here. So to the subject of sex conversation, why this is important, this is something that has really been, I know we've been talking about it, but if you are really in tune with the times, you will understand, and I'm privileged to interact with a lot of parents, both in the yard and outside the yard, both new Yadas, even old Yadas, and also being in the medical sector. So I know a lot of things are happening. Also being in diaspora. Of course, this is not about diaspora conversations. What I realized is that a lot of parents are not in tune with the times. A lot of people are using outdated curriculum. There is such a gap between, and of course, I'm privileged to also teach on platforms which I'm privileged to teach children. So I teach children, I interact with children, I teach parents, I interact with parents, and I see a huge disparity. A lot of us parents, we are still living in 1900. You are so not in tune. Sometimes we're teaching and having conversations with children, and parents are like, you are going overboard. And children are private messaging us. I'm sure Mr. Augustine and the TIP team, so you have a privilege to see, parents come to coach, children come to coach, and come to your team and all that. There is a disparity, and I see that we need to update our curriculum. A lot of us are still using the curriculum they used to raise in our own times. What are you talking about? Was there Snapchat in your time? Was there AI girlfriend in your time? So a lot of parents are not in touch with reality. So why is this conversation important? The children are the ones on the receiving end. And I'm saying that because when you are a parent, or it's not just being a parent, any adult that you are responsible for a child is in your care, what we call duty of care or responsibility is to understand the times, because you can't be out of tune with what is happening and be able to steward or protect or even raise children correctly. You can't. And because as a parent, you are supposed to be a researcher. So I see a lot of gaps. Why is this conversation important? Parents are not equipped to train the children. And I want to say something, Mr. Augustine. I realized something, that the children in these times are smart. They are smarter than us, but they are not wise. Maybe I'll get into that conversation later. There's a difference between being smart and being wise. The children are very smart, but they are not wise. But wisdom is supposed to come from the parents and the adults. So the adults are failing in their responsibility of providing wisdom to the children to be able to navigate the times and to be able to steward their smartness. So this conversation is important because a lot of things are happening to children, affecting them even to adulthood, because like Coach will say, what happens in childhood does not stay in childhood. And any issue has to do with sexual abuse or any form of those things, the impact is for life. The scar cannot go away. Of course, God can help and all that, but we are not supposed to stay on the messy line. This conversation is important because I realize that parents are not in tune with the times. I don't know, it's as if parents don't realize what we are really supposed to be doing. We just assume a lot of things, and because we are raised with a culture of silence and hypocrisy, so that we don't talk about something, we assume we are immune. In fact, I've had a parent in diaspora tell me one day, the person was telling me, we were Africans now. All these things, it doesn't affect us. And I'm wondering, like, what are you saying? Even people that are residing in Nigeria, some of them are still in limbo, assuming some of those things is a broad problem. So we need to have these conversations because children there are a lot of things going on. Children are being abused, children are being neglected. And when we talk about abuse, there's so many spectrum. When we talk about it today, there's a lot of spectrum to it. A lot of us wait for damage to occur before we think something is happening. And a lot of damages are not even physical. They are not even obvious. They are not even manifesting as maybe depression. Of course, we know things like compensating for hard work and so-called achievement. And there's so much I have to say today. Maybe we'll get to it, because we've also taken assumptions of who an abuser looks like. I will get into some things today, and you'll be shocked. We need to have this conversation. I need parents and adults to be awakened to the times. I need you to awaken to your responsibility. Your core responsibility as a parent is not I pay school fees. See, feeding, clothing, shelter, education is basic amenity. We call it basic amenity. That's why in advanced countries, if you deny a child any of those things, the government comes after you. Your child comes back late, you lock them outside or something, and they call the child services. They come on you. Your child misbehaves, you deny them food, they're going to come for you. You deny your child education, whether public school, private school, home education, whatever education, they come after you. You deny a child clothing, or you strip a child to beat whatever they come after you. So those things, they are basic. Responsibility as a parent is If you refuse to learn, unlearn, and relearn, it's an act of irresponsibility. It's actually irresponsibility to refuse to learn as a parent, to grow as a parent, to understand the times. You hear parents say that this social media thing is not my thing. What are you talking about? Everything your child is living to must become your thing. You must understand the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm not saying go and dance on Instagram, but how can you say that you don't understand it? It's irresponsibility. And you put your children through those systems. So it's like you set trap our children. Children are becoming prey. People are preyed on even under the nose of. If I share some things with you, you'll be surprised. Your child can be abused under your watch if you lack knowledge and you lack skill. So we're still waiting for the question. So I'm just engaging the conversation. Mr. Augustine asked me why this conversation is important. Because children are on the receiving end. Children are becoming our praise. Children are the victims. Children are the ones that are being, like governor would say, somebody has to be sacrificed. There's always something to sacrifice. So it's either the children are on the altar or something else. And for a lot of us, we are unconsciously, and it's not because you mean to. And I must say that, intentions are not enough. If you have intentions, you are not equipped with knowledge. Even if you say you pray, Bible says the Holy Spirit brings your remembrance. So can I be a doctor by just praying? When I pray, God directs me to the resources of the people that will train me to become one. And I want to do a surgery. He brings to my remembrance all the anatomy and how I'm going to go about it. So I see a lot of parents who say their child is struggling with something, they say they pray. But you go and check their systems. They are the ones that have left the loopholes. We talk about the 10 gates of parenting. They are the ones that have opened all the gates. I'll get into all those things today. The home is not your home is not protected. Your children are, so after you have prayed and you have done the deliverance, you still open the gates to the demons and to these things that are feeding the immorality for the child. So at the end of the day, so we're waiting for any other question. I don't know whether some private questions have come in, Mr. Augustine.
Okay, ma'am. So we'll be calling up the questions as we go. Before then, okay, I'm receiving feedback that I am echoing. All right. Just give me a minute, ma'am.
Okay. So if you don't want to drop your questions here, for those that are in the yard, you can drop it with your cohort leads, or you can send it to Mr. Augustine privately if you don't want to put your questions out there. Thank you, everyone. I see you all. I see all the cohort leads and assistants and all the yarders and senior yarders. I see everybody. Shout out to everyone. So you can drop your questions in privately if you don't want to post it here. And if you are not a yarder, you are free to also ask your questions surrounding the topic of sex conversations and maybe other questions that are, of course, related to this regarding parenting and your children. Yes, Mr. Augustine, please go ahead, sir.
Okay, ma'am. I'm back here. Am I okay to flow?
Yes, sir. From my end, it's okay.
It's okay. That's
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are still respecting your questions. Send them in. Okay, we are still expecting your questions. Send them in the chat box or drop them privately. Of course, we will call them up for answers. So, ma'am, going on. So,
Yes,
why
sir.
do you think parents find these conversations difficult? Because it's that some don't know, some know, but they don't just want to have this. For instance, we hear something like PP, all those kind of things. So to even mention penis, vagina is a problem. So what would you say is the cause of these things?
Okay, there are different aspects to it. Some people find it difficult because they assume that when you mention those things, it makes children curious, and that's what makes children want to engage in those activities. So some people assume that it will make the child curious. So the more I make it mysterious to the child, then it won't make a child explore. While some of us, because of the way we were raised, we're raised with this holy adult kind of thing that mentioning penis or vagina sounds vulgar. It sounds like you are, I don't know, like you're using a what do you call it, a vulgar word, or you're being or you're being what do you call it, you're being loose. That's another extreme. Another extreme is some people are coming from a place of trauma. So sometimes mentioning some of those things probably reminds you of your trauma. And somehow the parent wants to protect the child from what they experience. So sometimes it's trauma. But another thing is that we have to realize that some of these things you have to learn them. Most of the time, the way we were raised, some of these things, there's a lot of unsaid things. These elephants in the room, a lot of things are not said. And, it's as if, you just assume that once you don't say it, then it won't exist or it won't happen. And that's because we're not trained to be able to stand up to have difficult conversations, let me say it that way. So that's why you find people rather keep malice and keep quiet than come and express how they feel. You find people find it easier to gossip. So to confront difficult topics like this, we're not really trained. It requires a lot of training, a lot of getting used to, and a lot of knowledge to understand that teaching a child is empowering the child. Also, I realized that a lot of parents don't even understand the psychology of people that are predators or abusers. So there's also a disparity there. They don't know that when ability for a child to name something, become comfortable with their own body, that's where body boundary begins. So sometimes some of us, we don't really know ourselves. It will amaze you that you will see that there are women who are adults and don't know that where they pee from is different from the vagina. You'll be surprised. Because for the woman, it's different from the man. The men pee from the same place they ejaculate from. But the woman, our own ureter, is very tiny hole, very close to the vagina, but different. It will amaze you that we have adult women, married, some people actually, they will say they didn't know. Why is that? Because nobody taught you to be in tune with yourself. And if you cannot be in tune with yourself, how do you begin to talk about body boundaries? How do we talk about protecting yourself? How do we talk about knowing yourself? So once we can't do that, how can we help our children to do that? Do you understand? So sometimes parents are defensive. The knowledge gap, the trauma gap, the difficulty having difficult conversations, because also some parents have had a difficult journey. So they're afraid that my child will ask me a question and it will expose what I've done or what has happened to me. And I don't want to, number one, I don't want to remember, or I want to appear holy and pure. The parents have this, you want to appear this holy posture. I was a virgin before I got married. And your children will check your wedding picture and you're pregnant in the picture. We're not raised to acknowledge and be able to even use mistakes as teachable moments, because failure is seen as a bad thing, you see. So parents, do you understand? So your child asks you a question, you don't know it. There's nothing wrong to say, oh my dear, I'm sorry, I don't have an answer. Can you give me some time, or ask this person? We always want to be perfect. Do you understand? So instead of saying, I don't know how to go about it, I don't, because nobody taught me, I just want to be quiet about it. Or just live with the assumption that I was told that if I want to tell somebody, the person becomes curious, not knowing that knowledge is empowering. It's not a ticket for the child to now go. In fact, when you don't tell the child, that's when the child is going to be curious, try to explore and find their own way. And in between, they can make mistakes. They can encounter people who are going to lead them astray or teach them the wrong thing. We talk about law of first mention. So if their first knowledge of it is wrong, how are they going to know? So all those things, I think, is what makes parents shy away from that. But I think majorly is the knowledge gap. A lot of parents are not also informed that children nowadays are going to be curious. It's normal for a child to be curious. It's normal for a child to want to experiment. But early first mention and guidance and connection, and also the child finding you as a safe space. This thing that a child will say something that is wrong, your head as a parent, you just imagine everything and you start shouting and lose connection. So, but to know that a child saying, even if they make mistakes, they're supposed to be a guide. You see, so I think that those are the reasons why parents shy away from saying those things. They can't mention the part, they can't have this conversation because they don't have the skill. That's why having courses like this. You need to be skilled. You need to learn it. Parenting is a learned skill. Communication is learned. Conflict resolution is learned. Resilience is learned. Problem solving is learned. Handling difficult conversation. All those things are learned skills. But we were not taught. We just assume. So anything we don't know, we assume is not necessary, and we just want to sweep it under the carpet and assume it doesn't exist.
Okay, what we say in inner circle is that assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. Once you are, it means you are going down you're nose diving knowledge-wise.
Mhm.
So I want to also
Yes.
believe that if you're in this inner circle, we no longer assume things, especially things like sex conversation. We've been doing this for years now, and whenever you join it, the thing is, it keeps evolve. Every year, new curriculum, new things are coming up. So these curriculum are created, to also update your knowledge on the things that are happening. So that will bring me to the next question, Dr. Omolola. So, because some people, some parents, they feel the children, they are too young, that if they have this conversation with them, they will take away their innocence or something. But unfortunately, you when you look at it, you discover that even the people they are trying to protect by not telling them these things the way they're supposed to be said, will somehow get this information elsewhere. And worst of all, if somebody else end up playing that role of telling the child what the parents have told him or her, what you now do is what we call damage control, because
Exactly.
the window of opportunity for it to have taught this thing, you've lost it. So if you're in that inner circle, you should not lose this window. As they are coming, you take them and be the first. Position yourself to be the first to have this conversation. So, doctor, what is the biggest mistake you think parents make in the course of having this conversation with their children?
What do I think? What I didn't get that.
The biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes parents make.
Okay.
Those ones that even say they are having this conversation, but
they are doing it the wrong way.
Exactly.
I think the first mistake is that parents assume. They assume, like you said, the children don't know anything. One of the things that you have to, depending on when you're starting. Number one, okay, parents start late. You hear people ask, when do you start sex conversation? They say, when the child is 15. When, in fact, some people will say, ask some people, say, what is puberty? They'll say puberty is when you see your period as a girl. I'm like, what? That's not puberty. That's part of puberty, but in fact, that's one of the final stages, So the mistakes parents are making, number one, they are starting at the wrong time. They are saying the wrong thing. They are assuming a lot of things. And where is the assumption coming from? Lack of knowledge. Coach will say half knowledge is even worse. How does Coach say that thing again? Half knowledge. Some will say half bread is better than none. Not when it comes to things like this. In fact, saying the wrong thing can actually mess up everything. Sometimes you have to just keep quiet to even get someone who is trained. Send the child to a class, maybe a teens coach or a child coach or something. So parents are making the mistake of they're starting at the wrong time. So by the time parents are starting, the children are already ahead. It's like what we say in the yard. Most of the time we are starting late. So when the point you're trying to start, okay, private part, the child already knows times 10, law of first mention. What parents, what I realize is this, like I said before, we are always waiting most times for something to be visible before we know that something is happening. But as a parent, you need to begin to understand, just like puberty starts internally because what has to do with hormonal changes. So before anything is happening externally, the body changes and other things are already happening internally. The same thing with children. Why do we have a lot of challenges with teenagers or preteens and all that? It's because we started late. When you start seeing the behavior or the problem and you now want to start your conversation at that, it's already late because programming has been taking place. In fact, before you have your child, programming has been taking place because you are part of the sex conversation for your child. You are part of the environment of that child. So even before you get pregnant, remember it like even a man these days, the quality of the sperm determines the child. We always think it's always about the mother. No. The health of a man determines the quality of child you have. The health of the woman determines how the child is in pregnancy. The environment you are creating. That's part of sex conversation. Because if you choosing to learn, you choosing to work on yourself, you choosing to understand, okay, where do I reside if I'm getting married? I'm going to reside in this kind of place. I'm going to raise children in this kind of place. That is part of your sex conversation. So sex conversation is not just what is seen. That's why we say there are non-touch form of sexual abuse, because if you create the wrong environment, you have already set your child up for problem in the future. So I'm starting like this so that parents will begin to understand what are before I highlight the problem, I need to highlight where it's coming from. That lack of knowledge. So they are starting late. Sex conversation should begin with you, even before you become a parent. Begin to get knowledge, understand it, internalize it. Then when you are not having a child, part of your preparation, see, people think that preparation for having a child is just go and buy the baby cot, buy the baby bath. No. It's just like marriage. There are a lot of things you need to learn. Some of those knowledge and conversation will come to play. But of course, sex conversation for a 1-year-old is different from a 2-year-old, it's different from a 5-year-old, it's different from a 10-year-old. Structuring your environment, being the right person, your association, your network is part of sex conversation. What programs play in your house? Who are the people that are allowed in your space? What your family value? Everything rises and falls on your family value, your family mission, your migration policy. I know some people don't understand some of those things. The policies you have in your house, the dressing policy. There's something called dressing policy. Migration, what do you call it? Migration, what do you call it again, coach? Migration plan is part of it. Why am I saying that? Once a child is born, everything around the child is already programming the child. And that's part of sex conversation. The things you watch, some people think my child is a baby, so I can watch anything on the TV. Or some of you say they're looking sexy for your husband, whatever that means, I don't know. You watching adults, whatever, you say something's adult movie. There's not like adult movie. Perverted movie. Indecent dressing. In fact, your baby, you shouldn't even shower in front of your baby. You shouldn't undress in front of your baby. That's pornography. If you don't know, that's part of sex conversation. So you are programming the child already that's kind of image. So by the time the child is 9 and say, let me teach you bad image. And yet I've been showing breasts up and down in the house. So which bad image are you trying to now show the child? Daddy has been wearing just boxers, carrying chest up and down. And I said, let me bad image. You don't show your body, but you have been showing your body since. Do you understand? So the mistake parents are making is they lack knowledge to understand. So they think, I just want to teach and dump this. I want to make the child to be, keep yourself. So they lack the knowledge, and lack of knowledge will make you start at the wrong time. Not know the things that are your responsibility. The things that are not direct influences, but they play a major role, like the environment. You see people who their house is like a hotel. Everybody coming from Nigeria is your house. They pass through, they go. Anybody can come and, you understand? That's like one hotel. Everybody comes and goes. No, you hear people, I'm an open book. You don't see your relationships. You don't see your this thing. Anybody can come into your house at any time, open any door. You are a free kind of person. You don't know how to pick interaction. You don't even know how the signs, the red flags of predators, all those, you don't know that. So that is a mistake already. So when you now want to sit down, you say, let me teach you sex conversation. You are wrong because you don't represent or embody all those things you're saying. That's part of it. So programming has been taking place. What are the things your children are watching? It will shock you. Maybe we'll get into those conversations today. When I start telling you amazing things, let me call them, about cartoons. And you know the interesting thing in recent time I discovered? Christian cartoons. I'm not even talking about, because you hear people say, hey, tell me the Christian program to watch. No, we have left that. It's not about that. I will tell you Christian. And you know the interesting thing? The images are not directly vulgar. Maybe we'll get into the concept of grooming. I'll share more about grooming. A lot of us don't understand. You think grooming is just showing a child perverted image? No. Grooming is a system that programs you to be comfortable with certain ideologies way before those things are introduced. And I will show you how even in Christian cartoons, programs, resources, and all that, grooming is taking place without you knowing. Maybe we'll get to this conversation. So why am I saying all this? All these things have been happening. Grooming has been taking place. Programming has been taking place. So the child is already formed a certain ideology. Child is already curious. And if you didn't start early, maybe even in school, someone has introduced something, you have done sleepover, because maybe we'll get into child sexual abuse today. It's a big deal. To amaze you that child to on child, we call it COXA. Child to child sexual abuse is about 60% of the cases of child sexual abuse. Did you hear what I said? 60%. So like last time that I think Coach David was here, most of the questions you will hear, I'm working on my daughter and my whatever, touching this. You saw all those questions. My daughter was, they're all what we call child sexual abuse. It's called COXA. And it's initially it should be about 40-something%. These days it's about 60% or 68%. I think it's about 68% now. So you are starting late. Touching has started happening. And forget whether it's boy or girl. Maybe we'll get into that conversation later on too, because that old curriculum. If I pitch any man near my daughter, I'm like, sir, that curriculum is old. All these girl is safe to girl. Get girl house girl, female house girl. Get a male driver for your son. It's old curriculum. In religious settings, sister to sister, brother to brother. That's old curriculum. We don't do that. We don't do that here. So parents are starting late, you see. So when you now start late, and the worst thing you can also do is that instead of finding out what your child already knows, you now sit and start touching safe thoughts when your child already knows about contraceptive. And most of the time, the children will switch off. So another strategy is that you must know what your child knows first. And there are skills to testing that. That's one of the resources that, coach teaches and would share. There are things, your child asks a question, where do babies come from? You lie. They are born from the, meanwhile, the child knows, mommy, will anybody get pregnant? You lie. Meanwhile, the child already knows about contraceptive. So, number one, you lack knowledge on when to start, how to start, and sometimes we're saying the wrong thing that is messing things up because you will lose trust. The child will not be able to see as a safe space. The child will go back to the resource that they heard it from. And sometimes those resources are truthful, even though they are not good. But so they find them truthful and find you a liar, they disconnect from you, they go to those things. Also, when parents lack knowledge, when children are curious, you see young children touching their private parts, parent thinks that the child is doing something, start beating the child, not understanding the stages of development. There's some behavior that are not, in quotes, sexual. They are just part of normal development. Even if they're sexual, there's a way you know, there's a way you redirect, there's what to do. The other day, the lady said, oh, I found my niece and her niece is 8 years old during Coach David's session. Her daughter is 4. They found them kissing. She said, send the niece away. And I was asking, are you sure it's not even your daughter that is 4 that initiated it? Why do you think it's the other way around? It could have been her daughter. How do you know that what triggered it is not even happening in the home, your own home? It's not the girl that brought it. So sometimes parents also, we want to be perfect. This culture of, I don't want people to know, I want to be seen as a, we like this image. Those are the problems as well. So if people now know, people will now treat me somehow, people will now, so we want to cover that culture of cover up. An abuser is found, you want to protect their identity, you don't want to report so that they will not say this. So you compromise the child and look for one excuse, you see. So those are the challenges. Do you understand? Those are the problems that we have. So, but I think it's lack of knowledge to think that once you cover it up, things has happened, not understanding the impact that the child will live through. And sometimes also we're in denial. We don't want to deal with those things because, to be honest, sometimes it can really be difficult. So we want to run away from it. So we want to cover up and pretend it didn't happen. So that's why I'm sorry. It's because of your children. I know what some people now. You went to Canada, whatever. You left your children with whoever in Nigeria. I'm not saying that there are cases you may have to, but sometimes those abandonment things happen. You now want to guilt trap them. I know I've been suffering when your father did not, sir, ma'am, like that's you want to guilt trap them. Yeah, I know how I suffered to pay your school fee. No, you want to leave the conversation and guilt trap them and distract the whole thing. And not want to take responsibility. I'm not blaming you, but you need to take responsibility to amend things. So those are the challenges we're seeing. There's a disconnection between standing up to get knowledge, embrace this thing, and really knowing also how to say age-appropriate things, also how to read your children. Read your children. A child changes behavior. The first thing you're thinking is rebellion. Instead of thinking, what could have happened to my child? You see? So those are the things that we are seeing. How do you counsel a male child who may have experienced inappropriate touch by his mother's sister? Who may? Are you assuming? Who may? So I think this question is not complete. So to be honest with you, to answer this kind of question, you need more details. And maybe it may not be something that you may be able to share here. Because you say, who may? Did the child come and say it? Did you assume it? Was it that the child reported, the other person denied it? Or so when you say may, so when you say inappropriate touch as well, what kind of inappropriate touch? Is it was it when she was showering him? Was she sleep? Was it that it was what? So you need to give context. And how did you find out? Did the child report it? So because the extent also and the extent of the abuse, and also the current state of the child and the current mindset. How old is the child as well? So those are the things. And how long did it happen? So it's not a one size fits all. So you see what I'm trying to say now? Sometimes I know it's a difficult thing to talk about. So to give details on this kind of platform, of course, I won't expect you to. So that's why most times we advise you need to speak to a professional. They need to dig deep. Because number one, what age did it happen? What were the circumstances? Was it that the child reported it? Was it that the person was caught? And when it happened, how long ago are we talking about? How old was the child? What was done immediately? What was the response? Because another thing you need to know with abuse or trauma is this. Sometimes the response at that time determines the impact of trauma most times. So why do people get really affected? Is because sometimes you're blamed, you're judged, even without directly saying it. See, a child is in a school and the child was abused and the parent don't do anything about it. Let me even tell you this. We know all the cases that happened in Nigeria, those schools we used to see on social media, those cases of abuse that trend, right? We all see it. Do you know that it's actually trauma if you have a child in that school? What parents don't realize that they think because something didn't happen to their child, then their own child didn't feel the trauma. No. Every child in that school, particularly the ones in the space of that child, you as a parent, you people didn't do anything. Do you know you have traumatized your child? Do you know that if something happens to your child, you cannot be trusted because you didn't stand up against that thing? I remember there was a year that I was reached out to me, and I don't want to mention the country where they are. And she reached out to me for something else about her child not doing well academically, or thinking that was it. So that's why sometimes you need to get context. So when I got on a call and having the session with her and talking to her, she was just saying things randomly about the school, how they physically abuse children, beating and all those things happen. But she was saying those things casually. That was not even her concern. So as she was talking, I had to bring her back. That man, sorry, I'm sorry you're calling me for this. But these passive things are just dropping and dropping. It's a big concern to me. Are you not concerned about it? She said, well, I saw that parents will say they are concerned. But I said, how do you now leave your child in that system? It's not that it's every day. In fact, the teacher, you're passive about a lot of things that is more important to the child, and yet to tell the child that you love and trust the child. So she now got to a point and said, one teacher was even so bad, but she's happy that it was not even that her son told her one day, the way the teacher beat one child. If it was my child, I would have gone to them and said, Mama, pause, just pause what you're saying. If it was your child, you'd have gone to challenge that thing. So I said, so if your son came to tell you that teacher sexually assaulted another child, would you still have sat down and waited till it was your child? She kept quiet. And that's what we do. So if you look at those things, that what bothers me, what troubles me most is for parents to have children in that school and not do anything about it and still keep your child in that school. I don't know what PCA is for anymore. I really don't know. When it's time for Christmas party, we do all those things. But those kind of things happen and life continues. For every one of you that have children in those schools, to me, you have not acted responsible. You have not acted like someone who has your child interest at heart. You have not proven to your children that you can be trusted and you will have their back. Do you understand what I'm saying? The way most of us grew up in boarding school, you are crying to your parents that one senior is. They tell you, what do they tell us? Are you the only one there? Is that what they told us? God is toughening you. How did he make you feel? When things happened, that was why you couldn't trust them to go tell them. So that's why I said this kind of case. So when abuse happens, the action that was taken at that time, not to blame the child, to validate, to also take action against the abuser. Not enough to say, because it's the mother, sister, she just leaves the house. No. You take legal actions. Your child knows you go above and beyond. Do you understand? So, of course, we now need to know the child's state, what happened. I mean, did the child's personality change? Is the child have some children maybe affected medically, psychologically? That would inform. So it's not about counseling. It's not about talking the child out of this. You know, when you want to say, how do you now counsel? I still want to just fix. No. We need to understand the whole system and begin to create a system and walk the child through the journey. But I think that the role the parents or the caregivers play is very important in how well the child navigates that trauma or that experience. You know, and we need to know more details, because sometimes when abuse happens once, depending on the age, as it happened before, as somebody else. So you see what I'm saying? So that's why I can't answer that just and say, okay, just counsel, just say one or two things. No. It's a journey you're gonna have to walk through. The parents themselves, the child, the family, and so many other things. As someone who is 10 years old is being bullied by a girl with words, he told us, but when we wanted to confront the girl, our son said we should forget about it. See this bullying conversation? I'm happy you brought it up. You know one thing, if your child is being bullied, or even your child is a bully, or your child is a bystander when bullying happens, I'm sure you see all those videos when we see those things trending. This person, are you a yada? This person, please answer if you are not a yada. Go to this TIP page. Go to TIP page. Coach Wendy did a maybe admin. I don't know, Mr. Augustine. Maybe your admin can help. There's that class on bullying that Coach did Tuesday live some weeks ago. There's a class. I can't remember the dates. Maybe admin, any other admin that can help. So if you go to TIP page some weeks ago, just go to the live page, Tuesday live. There's something on bullying that Coach Wendy did. It will help you. But I'll still answer your question, but to help you, I want to say something about bullying. If your child is being bullied, or your child is a bully or a bystander, the first thing is you should check your home and check yourself. Most children have been bullied at home. Most parents will know you don't feel attacked, whoever you are. I'm not attacking you. But you see here, we don't give social media advice here. We tell you the truth, and truth is not cute. Truth that can set you free. Most children that are bullied, and you know, Mr. Augustine, I've been bothered about it, particularly in diaspora. You hear parents who children came to diaspora, they're experiencing bullying, this is happening and all that. So I get wondering, because sometimes the change is always very drastic for people who relocate their children, you know, that are older in diaspora. So I was very worried about it. I kept thinking, it is happening, until when I did further research to understand what bullying is. The day I was watching something, it was a foreign a white person that was analyzing. They were not even talking about Africans or anything. They were just analyzing bullying, and I will tell you 5 features of bullying. Okay, and I will explain to you why, if your child is being bullied, or even your child is, because the bullied and the bully, they are all suffering from the same thing. It's just the manifestation that is different. But if you watch that class by Coach Wendy, you will understand all the details, so I don't bore you with all the details. But let me tell you 5 features of bullying. So, when it comes to bullying, there are 5 things you look at. An aggressive behavior, an unkind behavior, or a mean behavior. So that means that there's one that is one-sided. So one person is aggressive towards the other. That's why sometimes when I explain bullying, you realize that some sibling fight or something is not really bullying. So you will see the difference here. So one-sided behavior that has to do with aggression, someone being unkind, can be with words like what you're saying, or being mean, they pull the chair, or they set up something, you know, pour your food away, put something on, you know, those kind of mean things. That's number 1. Number 2, the behavior happens repeatedly, most times. To happen repeatedly. Or I'm not saying that once something drastic happens once, we should not say that, I mean, that's bullying. But usually before we classify, because most times bullies don't exhibit the act against a stranger. Not unlikely, very unlikely. I mean, especially in children's setting and school setting, they target you. So now I'm talking about, I will talk about some things that there's a way they target you. So most children that are bullied, they are preyed upon, and there's a posture of a prey. So by the time I finish what I'm saying, you begin to understand what I'm saying. So the behavior is repeatedly happening. Then it is a deliberate thing. So it's not a mistake. So I didn't deliberately, you know, sometimes you're walking, they just put their leg, person falls down. Deliberately, not a mistake. So remember, aggressive behavior, mean behavior, unkind, it's happening repeatedly or it's an ongoing thing. It's what do you call it? There's it's happening on purpose. It's not accidental. That's number 3, right? Abi?
That's
Then
number 3.
there's an uneven power dynamic. So the power dynamic can be, I have more social influence than you. Even in school, you see some of those people that are social, they are the social people that. So what does that mean? When I have more social power than you, I can use my influence against you, or I'm bigger than you, or that's why you see bullying. Let me tell you something. Any form of disrespect in an uneven power dynamic is bullying. Let me say that again. Any form of disrespect in an uneven power dynamic, parent, child, teacher, student, husband, wife, employee, employer, uneven power dynamic, whether it's in the workplace, so that uneven power can now be someone is bigger than the other person, someone is more socially influential or popular in school, someone has more money, someone is doing well in class more than the other person. So any form of disrespect. So that's why I'm telling you, a lot of parents are bullies. The way you talk to your children in a disrespectful way, can they talk to you back like that? If they cannot, that's bullying. Because the meaning of a word is in the word itself. If you are using certain words and your child cannot use it back on you, then that is bullying. That's number 4, right? Uneven power dynamic. Then number 5, they cause harm, either physical harm, emotional harm, or even social. You know, some people they will pull away all the friends from you and isolate you. So those are the 5 features of bullying. Do you know when I listened to the lady, immediately she analyzed that thing, what came to my mind was a typical African home. What came to my mind? I just saw a typical African home. Because all those features, to me, I see it in how most of us, a typical home growing up. You see, that is the dynamic that parents wield. Let me say it again, aggressive behavior, you hit your children. Number 2, it happens on an ongoing basis. Number 2, right? Number 3 is deliberate. You say because they did something, no, but it was intentional. You didn't just carry the slippers and just was a deliberate thing. I will show you. I will deal with this child. I will wait for you. That's deliberate. Uneven power dynamic, parent, child is uneven power dynamic. It causes harm, emotional harm, physical harm, isolation, social harm. You see it? So what happens with bullying and any form of trauma? I want to say this is this. When a child is traumatized, that's why neglect is a form of trauma. When you keep malice with your child, you withdraw love because a child does something, you denied love, even abandonment. That's why we talk about the conversations around creche. I don't want to get into that. Just putting your children somewhere. I don't want to get into that because the whole thing, when you begin to understand those things, what it does is that it puts the person in a particular state. That's why there's a posture of a prey. And you know what? Abusers, bullies, predators can identify that prey, that posture. Why do you think growing up, most of us, you notice that extended family members, when they come, they tend to either they abuse or they use words against you, lie against you to your mom because they know your mom will not. Why is that? Because when they enter that system, they can already tell this posture because they can already see the uneven power dynamic. They can already see the lack of attachment. They can't because it puts you in a posture. In fact, our little psychology was saying it that predators can tell. They can tell. Why do you think that some people are targeted? Yeah, they can tell. Why do you think Coach Wendy will say things like, I go to a school and I look at all the children, I can tell children that are coming from a certain kind of homes. That story of that inner circle parents, that the child was the only girl that was not shown the pornography by the chef. Why do you think that was? The man could tell. Do you understand what I'm saying now? He's a predator. He could tell each child. So he could look at that girl and tell the kind of system that she was coming from. There was attachment, there was validation, there was love. So he knew, so he could see her posture was different from the other children. So that's why you need to understand. So if your child is bullied, the first thing is not just to, the bully, the system. No. Even if you take your child away from the system, your focus, what happened to the child? Most times, there's a posture. You see children walking now, you can already see there's a posture of a prey. There's a posture of a child that lacks confidence. There's a posture of a child that is seeking for validation. If your child is seeking validation, looking for love, then it's a problem from home. I think the person was asking a follow-up question. Our second son is 8 and the primary 2 is constantly being told by a girl in her class that she loves him. She says his heart beats fast. So I think that person, you need to join. I'm sure you're not in Yada. You need to join Sex Educate, buy all the books. How to see what the things you're saying has nothing to do with what those people are saying. It's showing a gap in your children, and it's not their fault. It is the fact that you haven't taught them, you haven't empowered them. That's what we're talking about, law of first mention. If you have mentioned certain things to them, they will know what to do. So this thing is a lot of thing you have to do. I don't know whether it's a ma or a sa. So in all these books, we have volume 1, volume 2. You know, if you come to just join Inner Circle, join this Sex Educate, but please enter Inner Circle with that person, because you have a lot of learning to do. So because also your children, their personality, their learning style, the kind of system you're running in your home, you're going to have to teach them a lot of things, role play and all that and all that. So I can't just tell you 1 or 2 things. A girl loving him is not abnormal. Crush. Everybody has crush, so it's a normal thing. So the girl is crushing on your son, which is not your son to crush on somebody. I mean, crush, even adults crush on people. So it's not that there's no problem with that. It's your son now understanding how to respond. It's just like when people give you compliments, they're so beautiful. It's normal. So it's a normal thing that he's experiencing. So it's not abnormal, it's not unusual, it's not peculiar. But you need to get him to be empowered, to understand boundaries, to know what to do. So how to help that person? So that's what I'm talking about. Bullying. It's not about the school, first of all. You need to check your home. So when parents come up, your child, first I ask that, are you a parent that you beat? Do you still beat and yell? So if you are still in that place, if you are still in that place, or you beat, so that parent I was telling you about, I asked her, I told her, I'm sure that the reason why you're comfortable for your child to be in a school where they hit children, that you hit your children. So I asked her, do you still hit your children? And maybe not really. I use one small slippers or something. I said, knowledge gap again. We think it's the size of the cane that matters. So the same thing you hear parents will say, just you beat them small, not big cane. Because you don't understand. I talked about bullying now. There's psychological, there's emotional. It's not whether you even give eye, you words with hand, it's the same thing. What you are looking at is just physical pain or physical impact. And his impact is beyond that. If you how does coach say it? Cane welding parents, you still beat, you still yell, or you give eye, my children, they can't try me, all those things. If you are still there, before we talk about conversation of bullying, you have a lot of work to do. Your child will be bullied. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Don't say, but what about other children? No, children are different. Personalities are different. Other things are different. So if you are still having beating in your system, yelling. So when people start arguing, you should not beat. See, there are weightier matters. Now you realize, you see all those beating and yelling. If you don't eliminate it, you can't do what we are talking about. But like I said, you need to attend emotional intelligence course, you need to attend healing from childhood trauma. So it's not something I will just say 1, 2, 3. But if a child is being bullied, you need to turn the light on yourself and the system that is being run in your home. Because most times children that are bullied outside is a reflection of what happened in home. Attachment, love, validation, acceptance, judgment happening in the home, bullying in forms of hitting, yelling, spanking, giving everything. They're all under the same system. But it's something that you have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. My 9-year-old just asked me, what is sex? Is it appropriate for me to explain to her the mechanics of sex so that she can hear it from me? No. See, one thing this kind of questioner, the first thing you should ask the child what the child knows. And most of the time when the child asks you a question, don't give an answer first. Because sometimes what the child is even thinking might not be the sex you are thinking. That's another thing parents don't know. So you may now overshare or you may undershare. Do you understand? So if a child asks you, like, wow, that's an interesting question, then you have to learn something. Your body language matters. If you said, what did you just say? The child will just quickly. So, really? In fact, you don't need to answer immediately. See, sometimes if you are startled, some of this you need to train yourself. Stand in front of the mirror and train. Or you and your spouse, you or your friend, you need to train. You need to train how your expressions are. So like, and let some things be at your fingertips. Like, wow, that's an interesting question. Okay, what informs why you asked? Because your child may have seen something, may have heard, or it might just be, it might not even be relevant to what you are thinking. So, where are babies born? Before you answer, don't answer first. Tweet, don't just say, where did you hear it from? And that's not what I said, though. Who told them? Mm-hmm. So, wow, that's an interesting question. Okay. Oh, why? I mean, try to find out why they asked. What did they know? What did they hear about it? And in fact, even if you don't even know what to say, you must know where to go. Just say that, okay, I will answer you. I really love that conversation. But maybe right now, okay, just, or give a tidbit or act like, well, okay, we'll get back to that conversation. We'll really talk about it. So sometimes don't be forced to answer immediately. Don't go and say rubbish. You now come back and want to now retract it. Do you understand? So you need to find out what the child knows already so that you know where to come in. And that's why if you join Sex Educate, for example, all our guys, I don't waste, I printed on my own. Safe home, this thing, trusted adult checklist, then the 100 conversations. We have to say, what do you call it? Sex conversation guide. Go to TIP page. I have to print my own. So there are a lot of resources. Whoever asks that question, get all the books. They will help you. So you need to learn what level your child is. Sometimes some children are way ahead. So you need to know where to start. Meanwhile, some children are not. So don't preempt what is not there. Just maybe think it may be something like maybe one car, or one. You not be like in your head, like what does that correlate? Well, so don't preempt the child. Ask them what they know. Find out what they are thinking before you answer. Then you know how to answer them. Then it will show you your gap. If you have not been having that conversation before, you know where to start from. Then link. So you don't need to. So sex conversation is not just about the mechanics of sex, really. No, you don't need to be talking about mechanics and go into details and all that. No. But in this conversation guide, it really guides you on the age of the child. But the age of the child is not set in stone. Bearing in mind that you need to know what the child knows. So even though they say 6 years old here, your child may know at the level of a 10-year-old. So you need to bump to the child's level. So most important thing is that is age appropriate. Doesn't mean it's cast in stone. It also means in terms of the awareness of the child. So you are guiding properly. You're not just talking about body touch when the child already talking about contraceptive or drugs and pornography. So attention must be, madam, don't worry, you are okay. Okay, who is person is asking? And I'm looking at the questions. Mr. Augustine, can you see any other questions? One thing the bully and the bully. Okay, yeah. Okay, that person, go and check that Tuesday live. So if your child is being bullied, and I see it all the time, particularly people that relocate, the first thing you want to chastise the school, then there are so many things you need to also look at. That's why I said join the inner circle. Not every school should your child be. A good school may not be the right school. So sometimes as well, some of us are in the wrong environment and you're trying to force things that you should not force. So sometimes the child is in the wrong school. So do you know how to choose a school? You know that if you go to TIP page, maybe I'd make and put the seller link. Go there. There's a resource on 100 questions you need to ask. So there are things you need to look out for in the school. You need to understand how your child learns and put your child in the right environment. Always remember it's about the child. It's always about your child, not just what you want. What is in the best interest. So when we say we're doing what is in the best interest of the child, so the school may be a wrong school. You understand? Like the parent I was talking about, I was so surprised because some of us think that a school is heaven, or one country or one city is heaven. Nowhere is heaven. No. There's no way a child cannot live. There's no, there's no way you cannot move to. In fact, I saw a white man saying that if his son is hooked to the wrong friend in a particular, he said he can relocate out of the whole state to disconnect his son from a wrong friendship association. That's how they asked me, because he saw in a form asking for gender. Can you see this person now? So that child was asking for gender. So the child was not even thinking in terms of mechanics. So sometimes don't awaken what is not really there. So find out what the child knows, where they heard it from, and also that you understand the sources of information for that child. Then you get to begin to guide them. Then you want to also, because that's why it's an ongoing conversation. You want to create a safe system where the child can come to you. And remember, if you don't know what to do, you must know where to go. That's why that's like when it is there. That's why people like Coach Wendy, they are there. Even if I have questions, I don't waste time. I don't know everything, but I know where to go. But you also need to be skilled in how to delay to answer questions, to also still validate and create that open open space. So please get into sex educate, get all the books, and above all, just join inner circle, because you can't do this without emotional intelligence, healing from childhood trauma. There's so many things, there's so many layers to it. I suggest when Austin, okay, call it. Okay, okay, I'll mute when Mr. Augustine is speaking. Mr. Augustine, can you say another question? I'm trying to through.
Okay, no question from this end, ma'am, but I have one from our inbox. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Please go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, the person is asking, how can a parent teach body safety without creating fear? Did you get it, ma'am? How can parent teach body safety without creating fear? So that's from our inbox.
Okay. So that's why I said the person asking. Number one, what's the age of the child? Then how do you start? So body safety has to start with body awareness. So while you are thinking about fear, I think is your own mindset. Because a lot of things that the way we were raised with everything, a lot of fear. Somebody touch you, this will happen. No, body safety first of all begins with awareness and loving yourself, their body, themselves. So, and that's why some of these conversations we normally have when people argue certain things. Is this piercing good? That one good? If you have love for yourself, your body, you want to protect it. So that's where body safety comes in first. So that's why a lot of abuse happens with known people and even in trusted people, because boundaries are broken. So you're not teaching first of all. You're not first of all trying to tell the child that there are people that can touch you. Then that's not where you start from now. No. It's just like talking about some people start talking about their daughters. Hey, when men, marry. No, the other side first. Teach the truth, the awareness of themselves. So, for example, for those of us that are Christians now, you start teaching your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Your body, is to glorify God first of all, not to dress sexy and look good for somebody. That's where the conversations come from. So if I understand my body, so that's why we start talking about doing all these body adjustments, but it's lack of self-love. It's part of body safety conversation, because they are violating their body and allowing systems and things to violate their body, you see. So don't think about safety and damage only somebody touching them inappropriately. Somebody violating their body through surgery, piercing and all those things. It's the same thing. But it's just like people that do, what do you call it, fornication, but the person is not pregnant before the wedding. We think that person is okay. But the one that the pregnancy is showing, people are criticizing. Do you understand? So when I'm talking about body safety, begins first with their body. Their body belongs to them. No, first of all, belongs to God, because it's always whose you are before who you are. You see? The other people that are teaching the perverted thing, that think do anything. No. You are created first for God's pleasure. So it's whose I am first before who I am. So my body is so it's not, I first of all do what pleases me. No. I do what pleases God. My body is the temple of God. So I must honor God with my body. I must honor God with my dressing. So now it's all those your body showing is dinner wear. There's nothing like that. There's not what's dinner wear. Indecent dressing is indecent dressing. Do you understand? So you're honoring God with your body. You are that things that you will not allow to violate. So that's why you will not allow somebody to touch you inappropriately, because they are violating you. Do you understand? So when you move from there, then how do you now begin to teach boundaries? So that's why we need to understand the concept of boundaries. So I always say something that most times, let me see, I think in the comment section. Okay, most time people always wait for danger to occur before, or to be obvious, before we are putting checks in place. So that's why your duty as a parent, we're talking about inner circle now. You need to understand. So when you teach body awareness, self-love, not even self-love first, body glorifying God first. When I mean self-love, I'm not talking about I love myself, I can do anything. No, I please Him first. That's God first. Before any. So that's why when you hear all these teachings that husband and wife, they own each other, they can do anything. No, there's a caveat to it too. All this anything you do in marriage or your marriage is your business. No, because marriage is a three chord. There's God in it. So there are practices in marriage that are even wrong. I don't want to get into that conversation here. Maybe that one is governor's side. There are So not every sexual practice in marriage is right. Why? Because you must glorify God. There are practices, if they don't glorify God. So a man cannot say, let your wife do anything. No, she's God's property. That's God's child. You can't handle her anyhow. You can't say, my wife body belongs to me, so I do anything. No, you can't, sir. There's a caveat to glorify God. So when you're teaching your children, that's where you're starting from, you see. So that's why, as a parent, you now put boundaries in place. A lot of parents don't have boundaries. So you need to understand the system and the channels or the gates where abuse can come through. Abuse is not even only physical. We have non-touch forms of sexual abuse. We're talking about content that you're watching from the screen. Maybe I hope I can get to talk about a bit of grooming before we go. I would really love to. You know, those things. So that's why we talk about all these sleepovers. People just ask, what do you mean there's no sleepover? No. You need to look at the systems of abuse. So when you're putting boundaries in place for your children, as simple, I'll tell you a story of a little girl that was 3 years old, and the predator started grooming her. But because of the boundaries that the parent has put in place, the man is a spouse of one of the parents had a company, and the man is a spouse of one of their staff. So they met during their staff dinner and all that. So after they need to bring his wife to work and drop her in the morning. So the girl comes to work very early with her parents. She's 3 years old, before going to daycare, okay, because they had like a food business or something. So the man will come in the morning. First day, he brought sweets to the girl, gave the girl the sweet. But the mother was someone that she just had this discernment. That was coach was also teaching about, okay, I'm not in NASA, yes, the discernment as well. You see, she just felt. Then the second time, like a week later, he brought some toys and all that. Second red flag that day was he passed beside the parents. He didn't say hello to the parents and went straight to the girl to play with the girl and all that. 5 minutes he left. So she had told her husband that there's something off about this guy and all that. Okay. Then there was a day the mother was not around. It was the father that came to work very early. So the man came to drop his wife. The girl was painting on the table, scribbling something. The man now went to sit down beside her, painting with her. But the father couldn't hear what they were saying. Just like the little girl giggling and giggling and giggling. After a while, the girl got up and went to her dad. Dad, Uncle so said I should not go to school today. I should spend the day with him in the park and da 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 da. And the father already knew something was off. The father just said, okay, let's just go. They just left. So the mother now said, I'm sure there was more to that conversation. So in the night, you know, if you're in inner circle, you know, things like pillow talk or bedtime story. So the girl first said, Mom, Uncle so said he loves me. Look at the mother didn't say, hey, no, she just said, oh, really? Wow. Why did you say so? So, okay, what happened was that the father got to the table and the father saw that the man drew 2 hearts. You know, hearts, and put the girl's name on one, put his name on one. You know, that's the grooming tactic. The man already knew something was off, so he took the girl. So why do you say so? So, okay, what are you guys talking about today? He said, I should spend the day with me. He will buy this for me. He will play with me. And he now said that we should go and play hide and seek in the bathroom. But the parents have taught this girl, you never follow anyone to the bathroom privately. And in fact, you never play secretly with anybody. You must always play in the open. That's a boundary. I'm saying this to always say that one of the gaps I see is parents, children come and play in your house, cousins and all that. You allow your children play closed doors. One thing you need to know is that predators or abusers, they look for the loopholes in your system. Even your children, don't encourage them to play secret. Not because you're trying to say, with the child abuse. No, that's what I'm saying. You don't wait for things to happen. If your children become comfortable with a certain kind of structure, when they go somewhere or somebody comes around to play with them and they are locked up for 2 hours, it's a familiar system. They are not thinking of abuse, but the predator has come to your house 3 times. Or another child, now I told you, child on child sexual abuse has come and noticed that we play in the room for like 1-2 hours. No adult comes in. Most of us, if you're going to be honest with yourself, if you experience a form of touch or whatever when you were younger, you will know it happened in one of these settings. Either you guys were playing secretly and you notice that there was a pattern where you play 1 hour, 2 hours, no adult comes in before the day somebody touched you inappropriately. If you are here, you and confirm it. Number 2, you notice that you go and sleep in somebody, you put sleep under the blanket. It has happened. You guys have been sleeping 1, 2, maybe it's your cousin, your friend, your neighbor. You lie under the blanket. Maybe the time, most times it's not the first time it happens, right? What do you think happened? That person has already been thinking about that thing, has spotted a gap in that system. So when you're putting boundary for your person that's talking about body, teaching body safety, you teach your child boundaries, because it's the boundaries you empower your child and raises an alarm. The child may not even understand that he or she is raising an alarm, but it's an alarm to you. This little girl now, that statement has been ingrained in her. You don't go into the bathroom secretly anybody. Those of you, if you follow stories, you will notice a lot of children, if you notice, especially in diaspora, supermarkets, malls, you will see an adult takes the child to the bathroom. I'm sure if you see those, you see it's a common practice. Oh, you want to go use the bathroom? Come with me. It's a practice. So the parents understand this. So they've ingrained it. And then you don't play secretly with anybody. So if you have a system in your house where your children should not be playing closed doors, people come to play with them, they shouldn't be closed doors. It's not because you are suspecting that person, but you are creating a what do you call it? You're not creating gaps in your system. Because when a predator comes into your system, an abuser comes into your system, he can spot the gaps. And the only thing that raises alarm easily to you, or if that your child will say, that will become a flag to you. And let me even tell you, when a predator comes to your system and sees those places that are blocked, they will avoid you because they are smart. Predators understand, they know you are aware, and they know you will catch them. So look at this 3-year-old girl. That was why they were able to spot grooming, because they have put that back. So we are teaching body say, you're not teaching fear. You are empowering them. Then another thing you must do, must practice. Practice, okay, somebody taught you, say no, tell them to do it. Because if they've never said it before or practiced it, if you're going to be honest with yourself, if you experience that kind of thing, the first thing that happens to you, particularly somebody that is trusted, it startles you so much that sometimes you might be knowing, you may not be able to talk. So you must have practiced it so well. Okay? And then, so I hope it helps you. When is the right time to start teaching a child about dating? This person that is asking, it's a whole system. Go and get this book. That person asking. And I'm sure I know you like, this was the webinar we did yesterday. Hot something. Just go to TIP page and go and get this book. But that person that I'm telling you, when it comes to dating, it's not something you are teaching in isolation. It begins with your family values. So that person, please get into the inner circle. Because you see that, you want to start teaching about dating in isolation. No. It begins with your family values too. Because you can't teach something like separately from what you embody as a family. Some people, you say, we are a faith family. We are a faith family. We preserve ourselves for marriage. We are a faith family. You have one Bible. You have 10 weeks. You are not a faith family. You want to get on that table. So when I want to teach dating in isolation. You don't, no. You don't teach in isolation. It begins with what you have embodied by life. What you have believed through your day-to-day things. You can't be watching, I don't want to mention names, but you can't be watching certain programs in your house and you want to teach something different. So it's not a teaching. Even that dating is not a teaching. It is it's conversation, it's ongoing, it's a system, it's a lifestyle, it's your family value, what your family is, what you live out. You yourself, your marriage, your spouse. So you understand what I'm saying? So you can't teach something that you don't embody. In relationship, God comes first. Does God come first in your family? You say, yes, God comes first in your family. But your child has one Bible. The one they gave them during their naming ceremony 5-10 years ago. Yet they have all the collection of Harry Potter, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. This year alone, you say you're a faith family. How many Christian resources have you bought for your child? How many clothes have you bought? How many shoes have you bought? What are you investing on? You see that you now want to teach holiness, preservation. You're contradicting yourself. They don't align. So you see where I'm coming from now. So that's if I get on that conversation. So virginity. No, we teach purity. Because inside purity, the virginity. You don't want me to get on that conversation here, Because that kind of person, a child asking now, okay, is it wrong to kiss in a relationship? While I don't start. And it's not in the Bible. Show me in the Bible. All those things, I get on that table. So you don't teach dating in isolation. No. It's what you have embodied as a family. It's part of your value. It reflects in a lot of things. So you can't say my child is now of the marriageable age. I want to start teaching them, because who they are and the values that they have carried is what they're going to carry into those zones of life. So when you find yourself fighting your child, they brought one person, it's not who we are. No, it's is an expression of what you have embodied as a family. You see, and that's what goes into okay. My 6-year-old saw a menstrual pad, and that's what it is for. This person about menstrual pad, they are not in the girls' hub. And Tetima has been, me and Tetima have been teaching about this thing. You tell her what it is now. 6-year-old puberty may have even started. Some people start their period at 8 years. So if you start your period at 8 years, that means puberty has started like 6. Remember, puberty starts internally before externally. You tell her what it is because she's eventually going to use it one day, right? So first, like I said, first of all, ask her what she knows about it, what she thinks it is. Then ask her. You may be surprised that your 6-year-old may know something about menstruation that you may be surprised, or something about puberty. And let's assume that she doesn't even know. Then you need to start your puberty conversation. Walking your child through puberty. Where is my own? So you need to go and buy this book. Where is Walking Your Child Through Puberty? Okay, this is the workbook. Where is my own? Okay, I was reading it. I think I put it in there. I took it to my room. It's in the room. Walking Your Child Through Puberty. Coach Wendy has this book. Go and buy it. He has a workbook. Where is the workbook? I'm looking for the main book. He has main book and workbook. Go and buy it to help you. You understand? But since she's a girl, she will eventually use it. You are going to talk about it. But remember, ask what she knows so you know where to start from. Then start puberty conversation. What is puberty? Simply, as a young girl, you don't need to go into that is the main book. Then it comes with a workbook. That's our reading for this month. So just explain to her what's puberty, as you are growing, you grow into adulthood. So you don't just become a tall adult. There are different changes that happen in your body. So there are chemicals in the body. Those are hormones. You don't need to use big grammar. That are responsible that body starts adjusting. So your body is going to be prepared for when you're going to grow older, become a mommy and some other things. So those changes that occur, there are different things that happen, both externally and both internally. So because you need to teach her comprehensively. Menstruation is just a component of puberty, you see. So the mood changes, all the things that happen. See, that person, just go and follow Auntie Etima. There's a free class. It will help you. Let me not just bore you. Auntie Etima Girls Hub. Contact TIP. They will direct you. Auntie Etima is a girls coach. So she coaches girls from 5 years. And the last few months, she's been teaching on puberty, menstruation. We have classes on it. And they are free on YouTube. Then get this Walking Your Child Through Puberty to help you how to communicate. I'll tell you also, whenever his younger brother raises the question about sex, we'll shy away and say he doesn't want to have that discussion. See, what this kind of thing is that it may be two things. It may just be that he's a shy person, or it may just be that he's trying to be, he may actually even know more. So that's why, depending on when you're starting with your children, and maybe their personalities are different, try to begin the conversations individually. You don't need to put them together. If their conversations are different, or you see now that he's uncomfortable, he may just be pretending. He might know more. So that's why I said that you need to first of all know what your children know, the extent they know, before you start saying when you're having conversation. Because you may be having a conversation that is, number one, maybe beneath what he knows, or maybe you're going too ahead. So don't just use the age and say by 10, because if you didn't start on time, you can't be talking from the higher place. Just like I tell people that if you have a 10-year-old that cannot walk, and you want to help them with therapy, you're not just going to start with walking, sitting, neck control, sitting, standing. They're prerequisites to walking. So you need to start from where the child knows and build up. Because remember, it's not about dumping knowledge. It's about empowering the child. So that knowledge, you want it to empower it. You want them to embrace it, okay? And it's a normal. So it depends on how you're saying it. So it also depends. You need to understand. Then we'll talk about learning styles. These things, just join in a circle. Because your child's learning style will determine how you communicate some of these things. In inner circle, we have different tools. We do diagrammatic tools. We have storytelling. We have demonstration. So it's not one way. You're taking a walk. You're talking. We do pillow talk. We do all those things. So you can't be. Every time come and sit down. I want to teach you. I want to tell you. No, that's not how you do it. Sometimes you're in the kitchen. That's why without connection, without knowing your child, some of these things, you're just going to be dumping. I say, I've told them, I taught them. No. You need to know your child, understand how they learn, understand their personality, then connect with them. When you connect, then you can now teach some of this, and then they can open up to you. Then, you understand. So there's so many things. He may be pretending, he may be just be shy, or it may just be that he's trying to avoid. But if you connect your children, it can be just something you're just taking a walk together. We have so many tools in the yard that we use to teach some of these things. So we don't teach it like lecture. No. But we have all these books, this teaching. So you know what you want to teach. We know how to test. So there's no one way. So that person, please join the challenge, join the inner circle, because you need to become the person that can train the child. You need to become the person that can guide the child. Do you understand? Because sometimes some of us, our children actually know more than us. And like I said, that we have a lot of children that are smart, but they are not wise. And that's why they are making a lot of mistakes. And why is that? Because the wisdom gap is the parent gap. Let me share a story that I think I will bless you. An insight that God gave me on this wisdom and smartness. One day God told me that He said, labor to raise wise children, not smart children. And I was like, what? You see a lot of people say, smart. No, that's why they are smart. They know AI, they know this, but you see them do certain things. It's the wisdom, because it's the parents that provide the wisdom. Okay? So, for example, you see some people say, screens, I want my children to be screen smart. I want them to be tech, whatever. That is smartness. That's not wisdom. If your child is wise with screen, they will know boundaries, they will know limitations. Somebody offers them something, you won't need to be carrying the smart card out of the house. Because even if somebody says, watch this, no, this is not good for you, me. That's a child being screen wise. I have a book called The Screen Wise Family, being screen wise, not smart. Smart means anything you are, just use it. A lot of us are smart, we are tech smart, we are not tech wise. Do you understand? So as I was meditating, to bless you, you will like this story. If you look at the story of John the Baptist, I know that you are a Bible scholar now. If you look at the story of John the Baptist and Jesus, did you notice that their birth was very similar? I mean, the story about their birth. In fact, there's a scripture. There's about the scripture that it was quoted very similar for John the Baptist and Jesus. I want to look at that scripture to really bless somebody here. I'm telling you. So you begin to understand where the importance of the wisdom as a parent to navigate some of these things. I think it's my Bible. Oh, my Bible is in the room. Let me see. I think it's in the book of Luke. I think it's Luke. Yes. Okay. Let me open my Bible. So if you look at the story of John the Baptist, how they were born, what happened? The angel came to Zechariah and what's her name? Elizabeth, the parents of John, right? And what did the angel say? Told him that he's going to have a son. What did the father say? The father shall talk. What happened? What did the angel do? The angel locked his mouth, right? Till the boy was born. But the angel also went to Mary and something similar. So I was kept asking, I said, God, but Mary also asked questions like like Zechariah. So why did the angel not shut Mary's mouth? And God said that Mary asked a question while Zechariah was questioning. There's a difference between questioning and asking questions. I said, how? He now said, if you look at Mary's question was valid, because at that time, there's no way in history that a woman would get pregnant without a man. I mean, without sleeping with a man. So he said, how shall these things be? I know not a man. Like, I have not seen anywhere that a woman will ever get pregnant. Zechariah, Sarah was there. Rebecca was there. Hannah was there. So that you are old at that age and you're having a child was not something new. Did you get it? So he was questioning. But Mary was asking a question. Different. That's the first stage. Now, when John was born, Luke chapter 1, verse 80, the last verse of Luke chapter 1, he said, and the child grew and waxed strong in spirit and was in the desert till the day of his showing. Right? That is John. The child grew, waxed strong in spirit, was in the desert till the day of his showing. Okay. Now I'm going to read Jesus. Luke 2 verse 40, I think. Yes. When Jesus was born, Luke chapter 2 verse 40. And the child grew, waxed strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. What was the difference between both of them? The wisdom. Did you see it? Mr. God, are you listening? Are you following in the comment section? I can't really see the comment section.
Yes.
Do you see the difference? The child grew, waxed strong in spirit. Jesus filled with wisdom. In John's one, he was not there. What happened with John, the way he died? It was lack of wisdom. What happened with him? That he got involved with, what do you call it? What's that lady's name? That told her daughter, Herodias. Before then, what did John do to the disciples? Told them they should go and ask Jesus, so, are you the one to come? Or should we look for another one? He was obviously bitter the way he acted. And he got involved in that matter. That escalated to, how John died. He exhibited lack of wisdom. So I started thinking, I said, God, but what happened? See what I'm talking about now? Where the parents come in. He said the parents are the one that impact wisdom. So the difference was John was raised by a father that lacked wisdom. Because if you look at the story, what Zechariah exhibited when the angel came was a lack of wisdom, was foolishness. Look at what Mary exhibited. So when I'm saying you're raising wise children, not smart, the wisdom gap is the parents that provide it in the training. Remember, Coach shared a story with us that her son, she shared it, I'm sure she shared it publicly, and Nina Sekuda. One day, her son in class, after a lecture, the teacher said something, he wanted to ask a question, or maybe the teacher made an error. So he wanted to clarify that, ma, and did you mean this or so? The teacher took offense. But he didn't mean to insult the woman. He just wanted to clarify. But the woman was so bitter, kept talking. So when Coach and her husband, I think they went maybe for a visit, or the children came home, their son brought it to them that this happened and all that. And Coach and her husband told him, said, what you did, you were right. I mean, your smartness, your intelligence showed that you noticed the gap, but you were not wise. You could have gone privately to talk to her wisely. But what you exhibited at that point was not a wise thing. Why? You didn't read the room. So that's why you notice a lot of children now, they are very smart. They are spontaneous, they are impulsive, they're not wise. They don't know how to calculate, they don't know when to keep quiet, they don't know when to abase and abound, they don't know when to. Why is that? It's the parenting gap. What did Coach and her husband do in that case? A smart son, they have been able to what? Bring wisdom to his smartness and teach him. When you're in a place, it's not every opinion that you say. It's not all the time. You know you're correct, but you must learn to read the room. You must learn how to put up your. That is wisdom. You see, that's a. So the gap we're seeing now in children, when it comes to sex conversations, children, they see drug, they see pairs, they see this. The wisdom gap is the gap to navigate. And that is where the parents come in. No child is born directly like that. Either from parents, from mentors, from coaches. That's where your wisdom, even if they pray on you and impart you with the spirit of wisdom, that is an activation. There's a life. Reading, training, mentorship. Those are the tools that now fan the impartation. They pray, they impart you on the spirit of prayer. If you don't go and pray, you are not going to activate it. So when I saw this scripture, I was like, whoa. So John the Baptist, lack of wisdom that he exhibited is in line with his father's lack of wisdom that was exhibited. Meanwhile, Jesus' wisdom was in line. If you look at Joseph as well, who fathered Jesus physically, you could see how he exhibited wisdom when the angel also came to him in the dream. Immediately he took action. He wasn't questioning. He wasn't, no. Those are wisdom steps. So he was raised in that kind of system. Even when he was seen with the elders at 12 years, look how his parents managed those things. That was a teaching and a training of wisdom steps. Okay, any other question? I'm looking through the comments. Yes, when you see wisdom gap, so a lot of children in this generation, they are smart, but they are not wise. So that's why the technology, all those things are overwhelming them, because the parents are supposed to bring the stability, the wisdom that will stabilize them to navigate. That gap is not there. So they're just running with all those things. In fact, when parents are struggling with the device and the tech themselves, I mean, how do we balance that? Let me see. Any other question? Wisdom gap, yeah. Wisdom gap. Any other question in the comment section? Okay, let me. Yeah. So if you see children exhibiting foolish steps, we need to check the systems have been created around them. And remember, parenting system, even if you are a single parent and all the other system, mentorship, we have mentorship, we have coaching, we have your spiritual father. That's why you need to belong to the righteous system. So when people are giving certain things, you belong to the right systems where the right knowledge, training, impartation are taking place. Those are and you're exposed to the right resources, you see. So even when your parents are teaching, parents are not teaching just talking, attending training, joining in a circle. It's a parent equipping themselves to be somebody that can be that can train and groom the child. So it's not that I'm a parent now, I can just do it. No, I need to be equipped as well. I need to train myself to train. Yeah, okay, somebody was saying that. Yeah. Thank you. Any other question before we go? So if you're not in the inner circle, please remember Sex Educate. We have all our books. This is 6.0, and each edition we have a book. So this is volume 1. You can reach out to the TIP team. We have distributors all over. This is volume 1. This is volume 2. This is volume 3. This is volume 4. Volume 5. I've attended all of them, and trust me, none is the same. And also get walking your child through puberty. Those people that are asking about dating, let me even tell you, that person that is asking, go and buy this. All of you have been asking about how can I help my child. Go and buy parenting launch plan. You see this parenting launch plan? But let me help you. Buy this. You see these 3 books: Parenting Launch Plan, Marriage and Dating, and by Coach Wendy's husband, the governor, Building Your Marriage Plan. You see these 3? I call them 3 in 1. Actually, this in the TIP system, this is actually my best book. These 2. This is my best book. This is my, when you ask me what's my top book, is this. Correct, yeah, that's the Bible and Genesis, but this is my favorite book. You know why? Everything we're teaching, this is like the template or the manual that helps you to implement. And now we add this to it because they go together. So the person asking about dating, you have to have a launch plan. Dating doesn't begin when your child is 15. Even before your child is born, that's where this comes from, building your marriage plan. Because see, your children's dating plan begins with your marriage plan, your marriage choice, and how you run your marriage. That's where it begins. Because your marriage template, even if you have made a mistake, so it's not to judge you, identify it and you can correct it. So you're honest with your children. I don't want you to go down my path. So for them not to repeat your mistakes or even improve on what you got right. So it begins with this. Whether you're a single parent, building your marriage plan, this is where it begins. Then we move to parenting launch plan. Then we move to date. So it's 3 in 1. Anybody that asks me, you can buy one. Which one should you buy? The 3. See, these 3 goes together. And if you have 4 children, for my children, it's not the same. One for each child. Even this one for each child. One for each. This one, me and my husband, we do it together, but I keep extra. This book is extra. This one for each child. This one for each child. Parental launch plan for each child. Because if you open the plan, there are tables there. You fill them. And of course, you can always, on an ongoing basis, you can use pencil so you can edit as you get more knowledge. See, you feel it. The dating plan too. You know, all those things are there, so you can fill them. So it's for each child. Somebody come to me. I have my fiancé. One of the gifts I give them. This is the gift too. This is my wedding gift to people. I don't give me gifts. This is the gifts I give you. There's one sister that I'm eyeing. Ogbeni, go and collect this. 3 in 1. Even Yadas, go and get it. 3 in 1. These 3, go and get them. And sign up for Sex Educate. We also have different books, you know, all coaches' book, all of them. See, I have everything. Me, everything. Day. Then we have girls and boys coach. In fact, Coach Ebuka and Auntie Sima's books. Me and my husband, we have our own copy because myself, I'm a growing girl. See, Johnny Suma, I have my own. My children have their own. Because now I'm talking about knowledge. My children are in Girls Hub and BLE for the first time this year. And one of the things, first thing God asked me that, are you a queen daughter? The God was asking me, am I a queen daughter? So some people are saying, you put your children in mentor system not to fix your children. So Girls Hub and BLE is first for me and my husband. First for me and my husband. So if you look at my table, I have all the books. So all these, they're not my children's books. So they are me and my husband, our copy. All these books. My son has all his own books in his room. This me and my husband's copy. All the books. I'm the one reading this one. I have my Girls Hub journal. I'm a twin daughter. See, I have my journal. Me, not my daughter. My daughter has a journal. Me, my own journal. I have my own journal. I'm a queen daughter. I'm a growing girl. When you hear Coach say that she's a member of Girls Hub, that's what she's telling you. Me and Coach, we are in Girls Hub. We don't miss any program. We are there. Governor too is there. So I have my own journal, not my daughter's journal. Look, my daughter has a journal. I'm looking for my other journal. In fact, I have the two. Because my daughter is using the younger one, so I keep both of them so I can follow it. So I'm helping myself because I didn't have these things growing up. Who taught me the exposing the lights of? I don't know it. Who taught me all this one? Puberty in boys. Who taught me? Even girls. Who taught me all this? Look at all my Auntie Tima's. I have everything. See all the book. My money habit, I have it. Smart money, I have it. Me, this is my book, not my daughter's own. My daughter has her own. They didn't teach, nobody taught me. I was not a girl with sense. Now they are giving me sense. So I'm going back to basics. So I'm not raise a girl with sense if I'm not a girl with sense myself. All these things, money habits, money click, all the children's diary, I have it. They are not for my children, no. For me. See my devotional. This is my own, not my daughter's own. That's my Girls Hub. Raising financially literate children. I have everything from a money click. Not my children's own. My children have their journal. Me, my own. Who taught me about money? So you see what I'm talking about? You can't give what you don't have. They didn't give it to us, but we owe it to our children. Because the greatest success as a parent is not that your children have 3 masters. Is that your child leaves your house at 25, at 30, whatever age, knowing their purpose. I tell myself, if my child has to leave my care at 25, looking for purpose, then I've failed. I don't care whether they have 3 masters or 3 PhD. No, that's not what I'm chasing. But that my children will leave my house. Jesus began his ministry at 30. So at 30, when Coach was saying yesterday in the webinar, saying that your 30 and 40 is not for giving birth to children. By the time Jesus was 30, the years preparation has been taking place. He launched into it. So by 30, some of us we are 40, we are still looking for purpose. We are looking for clarity coach. Think about this personal development clarity coach up and down. If parents have done their work, your son is not graduating, leaving your house, graduating with 2 masters and still looking for purpose. I don't know. So what informed everything? The greatest, your number one role as parents is not that they have 3 masters or they went to Harvard. No, they rise up to know their purpose. I tell myself, my son at 17, you must be ready to bring down the head of Goliath. David was 17 to bring down the head of Goliath. So at 17, sir, tell my son, you'll be ready to bring down the head of Goliath. So all this sex conversation, you need it. And I'm going to say one other thing. The ways we are raising our boys, the way our men have been raised, that generation has gone. We cannot afford to replicate those mistakes. All these excuses, that's how men are. Men cannot self-control. Men are moving what they see. What are you saying? It's lack of training. And I'll share one inside out. See, what to tell you, parenting is spiritual. You must get your own rema. There are certain rema that I've gotten on this journey that is not. Look at what I shared with you now. What I shared with you now, I didn't read it anywhere. That thing I said about John, I didn't bring. No preacher told me. The Holy Spirit taught me because I ask questions. And Coach knows me. I will say, I'll come to Coach. I will ask questions. I want to understand. Sometimes I will not understand. It will take me time because I'm coming from a lot. So I was thinking about boy. What is it about boys' sex conversation? You know, one of the things. Let me ask you a question. Think about the struggles of men. Most struggles of men. What are they? Women issues, money issues, game issue, food issue, right? Think men struggle. Oh. Okay, sorry. What are the things men, even adults men, from young to adult, what are they struggling with? Addiction to game, addiction to drugs, TV, maybe sport, women, money, gambling. They are all what? Loss of the flesh. They are all flesh issues. Have you ever thought about this? Because I'm raising a son, all this English, you come and tell your children, the children will ask you questions you can't answer. So sometimes I tell God, I say, God, I need to understand this thing. I don't want to be telling my children what I cannot defend. If they tell me why is dating wrong or why shouldn't we date, question, I have the answer. If you want to tell me purity and virginity, why kissing is wrong, I know the answer because the Holy Ghost taught me. If you want me to teach, I will teach you, you understand it. Because our children are not respecting us because we are not bringing wisdom. That's what I'm talking about. They're just talking. Yeah, they are smart. They have the information. You are talking 19 whatever curriculum. But when you bring wisdom, they will subdue and respect it because nobody turns away from wisdom. I mean, nobody disregards wisdom, or nobody says wisdom is not correct. So they are all what? Loss of the flesh. So the Holy Spirit now told me something that a man has to be trained to put his flesh under subjection. So most men are not trained. And where does it begin with? When you are small, when they say self-control for a boy, I used to hear coach will say self-control. Coach Ebuka will say self-control. I'm like, I want to understand this thing. It begins with what for a little child? Food. Why do you think most men struggle with fasting? Has it occurred to you? Say, I mean, put in the comment section, your brother, your husband, most men struggle with fasting. Why? Because fasting is one of the ways you put your flesh under subjection. So if you can't master how to control your mouth, self-control, how do you want to master self-control from sexual sin? How? How do you want to master self-control from TV? And every addiction is a door to other addiction. Do you know that every addiction, whether it's pornography, masturbation, gaming, drugs, it didn't begin with that. There was a programming from childhood. Coach taught us that thing. I think it's become an emotionally intelligent parent. And I also listen to psychology. So people that have addiction when they're older, a programming has taken place when they were younger. The day I was talking to my husband about something, and I am not a TV person. Even when I was a child, I didn't like cartoons. And he was saying something that anyone that is addicted to cartoon as a child would likely be addicted to movies as a teenager or adult, and would likely be addicted to games. The first time my husband said it, I said, what did you just say? Repeat it again. He said, yes. So what you don't know, when we say screen time, regulate screen time, is not, tell me the program I watch. No. You're mastering self-control. You are avoiding opening the door of addiction. If your child is addicted to cartoons, did they encounter movies? Did they encounter gaming? How does it? They are going because you have set them up and created the receptors. Do you understand? Every addiction, even psychologists will tell you, is a door to other addictions to come in. So when you see someone addicted to drugs at whatever, that's not where he started. The abuse, the trauma is the event. The shaping has taken place. So when you even think any form of abuse taking place is an event, the real conditioning for that trauma takes place before, just like bullying too. It's the same thing. Did you understand what I said? So when you're saying that men are struggling with sexual conversation, getting your son to control his appetite is part of sex conversation because he's training to put his. So when you say, before 5-year-old, can they be telling them to fast? So 10 years old, no, it's not about the fasting or denial. It's about control. So the person I was talking about body, says body, is control of self. That's where it begins from. You get it? So talking about your media plan is not to deny them, carry them, what can they now watch? What is it? No, you need to understand it. That media plan is control of self so that the media is not conditioning them to be addicted and lose control. Because once they do that, there's a conditioning and that's part of grooming. For those of us, I think grooming is just showing sexual control. No, grooming is part of the environment you create, the exposure. Conditions you is like what we call put receptors points. So when you enter certain fields or engage certain content, it latches on you easily. Of course, aside other things. Anyway, look at somebody talking. Can you see somebody talking in the comment section? Mr. Augustine, can you see? I was addicted to TV when I was younger. Now I am addicted to my phone. doom scrolling. So you were groomed. That's grooming, you know. It's grooming. So grooming is not just somebody showing your child perverted content. No, some of us, the exposure our children are having in our house, you are grooming them. So this kind of person, you were unconsciously groomed for addiction. So a lot of us are grooming our children for addiction. So when you begin to argue all this, what age should we give code? So what program should I watch? It's not about that. Like what I was talking about, a lot of Christian content now. They are not kissing in this thing. They are not doing perversion. But let me tell you, simple grooming. Somebody asked the other day in Inner Circle, her daughter was asking, is anklet wrong? Those things are grooming. You don't know. The way you dress, the way what you desire, exposure grooms you to think is okay. I'm not here to argue whether it's right or wrong. Leave that. That's based on your family values. You see, so we have left the place of is this sin or not sin. That's not what we're talking about. How they dress in Zenith Bank, how they dress in GT Bank, they are different, right? So as a family, your family is a business. What are the family policy? What's the dressing policy? That informs what is acceptable. So when your child begins to question, something is wrong with that, your system. That's what I'm talking about. Something else is grooming your child to want to embrace something else that is different. So in cartoon content, you see Christian content. How do they dress? I'll tell you a story. I was watching cartoon of Adam and Eve. And all of it, I mean, they were not doing perversion, but I started seeing grooming. The way she's dressed, the way they dressed Eve up, the way they drew Adam with muscle, he walk, come like this, the way they drew Eve with her hair. So they will say, and Adam, cartoon, no, hey, God, Garden of Eden, Adam knew Eve. She will not turn her eye. They will not do slow motion. What's this? So they will not say they knew each other, so they will lock heads together. They will lock heads, now look at each other. It's romantic. Look at her hair will now fly, the breeze will now blow her hair. She's walking, they drew her tight. She's doing that is grooming. Your child will watch that so much and want to appear that way. Do you understand? With the 6-pack and everything, they hold each other. Even the snake. I was Disney coach. The snake was doing like, so what is this? Serpent or snake? Still they would run to the slow motion. Like, I'm like, what is this? I said, no. I understood that this is, so when your child starts questioning something, is anklet, is this? No. Grooming, programming is taking place through an outlet that is contrary to your family values. And you have not taught, indoctrinated, instilled your values in us. So in Inner Circle, you have your family values, not just as a statement, no, as a document. Dressing policy, migration plan, creating the right environment, your circle, your associations, they are part of the system. So it's like an organization. In Zenith Bank, they have dressing policy, don't they? They have culture policy, don't they? They have social, what is acceptable, kind of social, whatever is acceptable. When they do the social grading, what they can eat, what they cannot, it's not there. Big organization have those things. So the first webinar we did in Inner Circle this year was what? Family as a business. So you must see your family as a business. Policy, not everybody's allowed into your house. Not every dressing is allowed. Not every exposure. We are not talking sin. I've left that place. Everything good is not the right fit for your family, for the kind of children you are raising, and the kind of destinies you're stewarding. You need to know that. So anyway, I think this one is only Inner Circle webinar, Mr. August. This is not Inner Circle. Let's leave all down. But see, grooming is taking me. See where grooming is coming in now. So grooming is not just perverted content. You need to leave perverted content. Things that program you into a state. You see? So when you are exposed, look at that one I'm talking about. Immediately I saw it. So for me, I don't watch any Christian. That's why I told you all this, even all these VeggieTales, Cucumber is singing. Do you see Cucumber singing in real life? You see elephant is dancing. And all these are nursery rhymes. Wheels on the bus, go shoo shoo shoo. What does that mean? Nonsense content. Your child is supposed to produce from what they consume. So what are they going to produce from that? You say because it's scripture they are saying no. They're programming emptiness into them. How do they be imagining correct things? Anyway, I don't want to get into that conversation. Inner Circle people understand. We'll meet when we meet and continue that conversation on that side. But see, those are the things that I didn't read them anywhere. Some people can come and say, what are they saying? The other thing we have been saying it. In a few years' time, you will soon see what we are saying. you will soon understand what we're saying. Some of the things that we think our children need to watch, they have no business watching it. Nobody died not watching certain cartoons, let me put it that way, or reading certain books. And the pressure to think that our children need to watch some things in cartoon forms or read them in cartoon forms to understand it. I mean, the Holy Spirit helps me to break that table. Let me ask you, if you want to go and learn French today, Mr. Gossin, you're Igbo now, or Calabar or something. When you learned your Igbo in school, did they do it in cartoon form in your textbook? When you go and learn French, is it in cartoon form? Did you understand or you didn't understand it? So I'm not against those things, though. I'm not saying those people are producing it. But like I say, you need to understand narratives that are being sold. You need to buy children's Bible. Says who? Someone say 4 years. We have 4-year-olds addicted to pornography. Mr. Augustine, people have clients now. 4-year-olds addicted to pornography. 5-year-olds. Their parents are coming now. They are there. They didn't know to be addicted. Yet they can't understand KJV Bible. What are you talking about? What are we really talking about? We're talking about sex conversation. Sex conversation. You say if it's not a cartoon for children Bible, what does that mean? They won't understand that. But a 5-year-old can speak 5 languages, can speak Chinese, can speak Russian, Italian. But KJV Bible English is strong. No, ma. We the parents, we need to bring wisdom into this thing now and understand. These children can understand these things. That's part of sex conversation. So we assume they can't understand it. It's too much when we say it. Meanwhile, the world out there is brutal. Predators are brutal out there. And finally, I'm going to say one thing, because it's something that God put on my mind, and I'm trying to say everything because I believe to help people. Part of the wisdom for parents, I need to understand the psychology of predators. You need to understand predators are not layabouts. In the world we are living in, they are the professionals. Let me tell you a story. If you follow the story, there's a doctor in the US. He's a gymnastic doctor, specialist. If you are following the story, you may know it. Reported to have abused girls over the years. Do you know that this doctor has been abusing girls? As a teenager, he went to volunteer in a gymnastic studio. Gymnastics, those girls that all this dance, what they went to volunteer there. That was before he went to medical school. He went to medical school, did postgraduate, and specialized in this specialty. So your predators are not the layabouts. They are the coaches. So those of us that you want to your child must do basketball at all costs. I'm not saying they shouldn't do basketball, but there are red flags. Oh, parents are not allowed in practice. Your child is so special, he has talent that nobody has. So they want to have a alone time with your children. So the people that are trusted, they are the professionals, they are the experts, they are the ones that, So sometimes your child is flagging something about this teacher. You are saying you are so lazy. They said it's the best math teacher. You don't want to. If your child complains, even if they are lying, first believe the child. Let your child know they can be trusted. I didn't say you should go and fight teacher even when you believe your child. But now think through the system. Then know your child. When your child changes, personality changes, they used to be bubbly, they withdraw. They used to be something changes. Seek to find what's going on. Because there are places, youth organizations, that's why everyone responsible for an adult, whether you're a children's or teacher, you own a school, you have a let me say a recreational center, all these indoor playhouses and all that. Do you know abuse takes place there? So you take your children to playhouse, you now sit down somewhere they are playing. Do you know all those nooks and corners? Do you know that abuse are taking place? And sometimes you see some children will come with the older sibling or even the older parents, seemingly following the child. Do you understand what I'm saying? Abusers look for loopholes. So they know you that you come there every time. You see that for 1 hour your child is alone. You don't get up. They see those loopholes in your system. They take advantage of it. Even in sports. So that gymnastic doctor, one of the girls came, she was like 3. She didn't know. So when they have muscle pull, the man is massaging their thigh. Oh, and you'll be using medical term. Oh, the muscle here is this. Now lift it here. So she did not even know. That's part of the body boundaries you're teaching your child. Number 1, you feel uncomfortable, say something. Number 2, nobody should examine you without a chaperone. It will shock you that we're teaching the girls, or we're talking about one of them was saying maybe in our school, something happened to her. The teacher wanted to go and say she goes to the toilet, let him examine something. So you must also teach your children those signals. Even if you go to a doctor, legally, there must be a chaperone. I'm not talking all the same sex one, we have left that one, whether it's girl. Ideally, for a child, the parents should be there or the primary caregiver, except the child is dying. So I told the girls, if you're in school or except you're dying, if you're dying, they'll call ambulance. If not, they must get your parents on the phone. At least for consent, at least make sure that they are around, except it's an emergency. So little things like that, some adults don't know. They go to a doctor. We have doctor colleagues who women will come for something that they will say the problem is in the breast, and they will go and touching the breast, and the woman doesn't know. We have cases like that, or something is in the vagina. Meanwhile, they're doing something else. That's part of our teaching of sex conversation, body awareness, body boundaries, what should be allowed. They put systems in place. It's not for fear. It's not that is there everything that we can now do. No, but you need to put systems in place, because abusers, let me say it again, they are looking for loopholes in your system. Let me say this one finally. One of my kids was going for swimming and all that. I know when they are still young in swimming, to learn how to float, they have to hold you see. But part of we're teaching body awareness. And my kid is telling me, I'm not comfortable, because when they hold me in my major place. Do you know that as a parent, I was there every day for the class? It didn't occur to me that was violating a boundary. Do you understand, Mr. Augustine? So when they say that your child can be abused, I'm not saying the child was abused, but that the child could signal, this is out of my boundary. So I started even thinking, so how would they teach this child? Until my husband now reminded me that there's an advanced technique that they don't have to touch the child. They use this noodle to balance the child. And that's what I was saying, that you need to upgrade your system and your knowledge. That center, I'm not saying they are bad or they mean her. An abuser will come to that place and see that loophole. Do you understand, Mr. Augustine? In that system. So someone that is owning such a thing should now know that no, there should be non-touch techniques of teaching things. Because once you have put that system in place, you have eliminated that. Some of us are like, hey, you're learning swimming, they're holding you. I'm sure you don't know as an adult. It's wrong. I'm not saying the person is an abuser. That person has not upgraded. That was saying upgrade. Like Coach Omolola would say. You must upgrade as a school owner. You must upgrade as a children's church teacher. You must, any system, upgrade. Because predators are looking for loopholes in your system. So a teacher that has good intention will hold you. An abuser that has a bad intention, same. I had to tell my husband that, hey, I didn't even think. See how you can be as a parent and you will not even notice. Anyway, okay, we've done almost 2 hours with Mr. August. I can talk and talk. I have coach's anointing. We talk till tomorrow.
Yes, so yes.
Coach, I have coach's anointing of talking. So I hope you've been able to bless anybody. Please join the inner circle. I'm telling you, if you're not in the yard, some of these things I've said, even for people that are yarders, I'm trying to say so much because we need to upgrade. That's the summary. Upgrade. Is it bestiality I want to talk about? People that are abusing animals. And there's some red flags. We even see a child that we know. Can't get into all those things. And there's been a correlation. Anybody that abuses animal, there's an 82% chance they also abuse children. And I'm not talking about layabout. Some people are animal specialists. They went to study that. So when you see a predator, they say a pediatrician, it didn't start like that. They are not the layabouts. No. Sometimes they are the specialists in those places. So that's why as a parent, discernment, trusting your instinct, and understanding boundaries and red flags, regardless of who is involved. Regardless. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach Omolola. That has gone beyond Q&A to a full-blown session. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so
Just
much,
sign up for the what you will call it, challenge. Oh, please, parents, caregivers, all of us. So it's a movement. Oh, it's a movement. Thank you, Mr. Augustine. Thank you, Coach. I know Enugu is feeling the heat now. Thank you, Coach. Shout out to the governor. Shout out to the CIP team. I'll see you all. Yarders, you know where we meet now, where we collect our hot. So thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay, thank you so much, all the participant viewers and yarders, for being here. That has been a whole lot being said there. So what you have to do now is to take action. Register for the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 6.0. Yarders, you know your discount is still running, and of course that will go off in a very short while. You can register your your school teachers, your relative, your friends using your discount. And thank you so much for being here this evening. We will return on Monday to answer your questions. So if you still have questions that have not been answered since we started this series, put them together. On Monday, we'll continue from where we stop. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you right there in the yard.
Common phrases in the inner circle. Let's go.
You're coming for an inner circle webinar and you're not with your yellow blanket with red trimmings. Is that even a joke?
Oh, I'm running and I'm not looking back because 10,000 lions are chasing me. I have watched all the webinars, but today, Coach came with a bazooka.
Even with my humility agbada, I still collected.
If you're not in the ark, you better enter now because flood na bia o.
In the inner circle, we dey walk and they show.
TIP police is coming for you. There is no any harness here.
You definitely cannot relate because you are not in the yard.
If you are not in the yard,
why not?